What is spirituality? I've been asked that question many times, and I would like to keep the answer as simple as possible. Spirituality is everything. It can be many things, but I will try to keep it as simple as possible, because I like to keep things simple. To me, spirituality well, the most important thing for me is to separate spirituality from religion. To me, there are two very different things. I know that most people mix them up, or most people think that spirituality has to do with religion, but it doesn't. At least not the way I see it. Religion is all about belief, all about believing in a separate God out there. And religion divides, separates, it segregates. There is me here, and then there's a separate God out there, and he's looking at me, and he's judging me. And spirituality is the opposite. Spirituality says there is no God out there, there is no separate entity out there looking at me. Everything is one, and one is everything. I am part, if you call it God, whatever you want to call it. I don't like to call it God, but the words don't matter. To me, there is no separate entity out there. It is all one. I am connected to everybody. Everybody's connected to me. We're all connected. We're all part of this one existence. So religion and spirituality do two separate things, and that's why I don't like to put them together. So to me, they're two different things. So spirituality means to me, basically, when we come into this life, we came from somewhere. We are spiritual beings first and foremost. And we come into this life in the physical form, but the spiritual being is still there. The physical form is just an extension of it, an expression of it, but it is not separate from it. So we come into this life, and then we know, small children know who they are, although they can't really express it, but they know that they're the spiritual being. But as soon as we start conditioning them, as soon as we start telling them what to do, what not to do, how to behave, what's good, what's bad, what's right, what's wrong, as soon as we start conditioning them that way, they start losing their connection with their spiritual aspect of who they are. And the more this conditioning goes on, the more we lose the connection. So most people have completely lost their connection. It's not that the connection is not there anymore. It's still there, but we don't see it. So we don't realize that this connection is there. We think that we are just this body and this mind, and maybe the soul out there somewhere, but we don't pay attention to it. We don't know what it is. We don't care. In a way, we're just so lost in our little life here. That's because, through this conditioning, the ego part of us has appeared and has taken over our lives, basically. So we think we are the ego, but we're not. The ego is a false entity, a false self, but we don't know that. And so to me, spirituality is all about going back home to who we really are, going back home to being the child that we used to be spontaneous and innocent and vulnerable and totally happy, enjoying life for no reason. That's what spirituality is all about, and it's about waking up. It's about realizing that, there's this ego there, but it's not me. There's this voice in my head, but that voice is not me. So that's an awakening. Then you start waking up and you say, that's just a dream. This voice in my head and all that's going on, it's not real. It's just the thoughts in my head, and it's just a dream. So spirituality is about waking up and going back to being your true self. That's what it is. That's what it's about. So any method, any technique, anything, any way to be spiritual must lead to awakening to who you really are. If it doesn't do that, then to me it's not spirituality. No matter what the other people say. Religion doesn't really do that. Religion doesn't help you to discover who you are. It does the opposite by making you believe that there's a God out there. By making you believe that there is such a thing as sin. By telling you that you are bad because you are sinning. That you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. So religion tells you what to do. Spirituality is all about taking full responsibility for your own life. Being who you are. It's a very different thing. So I will say it again, don't believe anything that I just said, but don't disbelieve it either. Be in the moment and listen to this video again and see if it makes sense to you or not. That's all I'm asking. I'm not trying to convince you of anything. I don't need to convince you of anything. It's not what I'm here for. I'm just here to share with you my thoughts, my perspective on life, my viewpoint. And I know that some of you will understand what I'm talking about, and I know that some of you will not. And that's okay. It's all good. It's all good. May you have the most perfect day. Thank you.